The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup.
Wachovia Corporation was one of the largest banks in the country. They had enormous troubles during the real estate collapse, and they eventually had to get bought by Wells Fargo because they were a disaster and would have folded otherwise. Well, it turns out that they funneled a lot of drug money through Wachovia. Now, Wachovia says, "Oh, how could we have known? You're telling me all that money coming out of Mexico was from drugs?" Golly gee willikers. We just couldn't manage to investigate any of it. You're saying it was also cash used to buy 4 planes that shipped a total of 22 tons of cocaine, among other things? How were we to know? So the government actually pressed them on this a little bit, and the case was later settled for $110 million, and then they added $50 million in fines on top because it was absolutely clear that Wachovia did know, and they didn't give a damn. Now, are you ready for 2 fun facts about this? First, do you know how much money that they laundered from Mexico in drug money? This is a stunning number. It even stunned me. $378.4 billion. Oh, I love these guys. They're like, what? Did we launder $378 billion? Us? Who knew? Well, I'll tell you who knew. That's the second fun part. A guy by the name of Martin Woods. He was their money laundering officer in their London office. And he kept filing what they call suspicious activity reports. He's like, guys, all this money coming from Mexico is obviously drug money, and we're not looking into it at all. They're like, hush! Will you hush up already? What's the matter with you? So they told him that these suspicious activity reports need not have been filed, that he had no legal requirement to investigate an overseas case, and no right of access to documents held overseas from Britain. He's like, but wait a minute, I'm doing my job. I found this is obvious. They're like, shish, www.shish.com. So guess what they did to him? And you know it. Everybody in the country knows it. Of course, they fired him. They set him on his way. They said, one of the things they told him is, why are you doing this? He's like, it's my job to be the money laundering expert and tell you if we're laundering money. They're like, why? Wow, we're making a lot of money here. Shut up already. So they told him, they accused him of failing to, quote, perform at an acceptable standard. Of course, the acceptable standard is you don't say a word and they continue to make a ton of money. So now, JR, when he forwarded this, made a very good point. He said, you know, we're always looking to see where the money's at, right? Because that determines all of our politics, unfortunately. And, you know, there's the theories that the alcohol companies don't want the competition of marijuana, and so they're against it. There's some decent evidence in favor of that, because they're the ones that contribute money to making sure that drugs do not get legalized. For example, in a recent election in California, they contributed money. But it wasn't a lot of money. It's an okay case. But this makes more sense. If banks are making a crazy amount of money from laundering 300 some odd billion dollars worth of drug money, oh, they're not going to want drugs to be legalized. Then they're not going to make nearly as much money from the illegal money that they're laundering, right? So that's an interesting phenomenon. I don't know if they act based on that. What we do know is they launder the money, they know it, they did it, and they don't give a damn about it. The last interesting part of this is, remember what the banks did with Elliot Spitzer. Elliot Spitzer was the guy who was a sheriff of Wall Street. He was trying to make sure that somebody regulated the banks and that they didn't mess around with your money, right? And they hated him. And so, coincidentally, his bank happened to report a suspicious activity report on him. Not because he was even taking out chunks in $10,000, but he was taking out chunks in less than $10,000. They're like, normally at $10,000 is when you have to report to the authorities, right? But it was under $10,000, so they're like, that's also suspicious. If it's over $10,000, suspicious. Under $10,000, also suspicious. And just golly gee willikers, they happened to report it to the FBI, and the FBI happened to catch him with a prostitute. Oh, what could they do? They always do suspicious activity reports. My ass they do. When they're making millions of dollars, shush with the suspicious activity reports. When they want to throw a guy that's been fighting them the whole time under the bus, when he's the governor of New York at the time, oh, will you look at that? Mr. FBI just found a suspicious activity report. Oh, what could I do? Come on, man. These banks are so shady, it's unreal.
Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.